We're all taught at school that the basic shapes are the triangle, the square and the circle. But that's actually not true. These two are secondary shapes, they're not primary shapes, and this is part of our social engineering that's concealing things from us. Let's have a look at what the basic shapes actually are. The circle is indeed a basic shape, but the other basic shape is the line. Now these are the most ancient symbols of male and female that exist anywhere in the world that I'm aware of. And we find them all over the place and they are commonly accepted. But why is it that we're not taught them? That's the interesting thing. Well, it's because when you put male energy and female energy together, you get a spiral. Now what you'll find everywhere in nature is this shape. You'll find this in galaxies and solar systems, you'll find it in cloud formations and in water vortexes. You find it all over the place. Spiral dynamics and spiral energy is being recognised as being at the heart of virtually all things. And this is because the gender energy of the line and the circle, the male and the female, is imbalanced everywhere in the universe except in our species. But it has been that imbalance has been engineered in our species. And it's partly to do with this education process. At the heart of every single spiral, you find a shape that we recognise as a character in our alphabet, which is the character G. Now all over the world you will find Masonic buildings which will show you the G in the set square and compass. It's not a very good set square and compass, but hopefully you get the point. This is actually a symbol of the trapping of the spirit of man. It's a symbol of the trapping of this dynamic, balanced energy. Because the interesting thing about a spiral is that it is dynamic and ever increasing, it's ever expanding. For those who would seek to maintain a state, you cannot have a dynamic spiral. What you need is this on its own. What you need is actually to conceal or hide or control the male energy, and then you can have a state, because what you have is a female energy that never has the transformative line energy of the male applied to it. Now what's happening for each of us in our lives and in our personal development is we're actually all learning how to draw a line again. We're learning how to draw a line of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. We're learning to draw a line over what we consider to be the correct direction for humanity and what isn't. And we're applying this in all the fields of our endeavour, from ecology and spirituality to politics and other behaviours in relation to food, and just every area that we look at, we're all seeking to draw lines again. Now, what this is directly related to is the video that you may have seen of the collar, the cuffs and the tie. And I mentioned in that video that there is a reason to do with cosmic gender as to why it is only the men that have to wear ties, and why it is only the men that are cuffed and collared. And it is to do with this line energy. So we don't get, first of all, we don't get taught that that is a basic shape in our school. So the line energy is omitted at a very early level. Then all the men are collared for various work. We have our blue collar, our white collar, our dog collar, all that sort of stuff. But that collaring of the male energy is so that the state can be maintained. So the energy of the line is directed inwards at repeating what is already there, which is why you're being trained for a career in a pre-existing thing. You're being trained to work for corporations that already exist in maintaining the state. The line energy is being directed inwards instead of outwards. And what that's doing is creating an entropic spiral, which means that the world gets smaller and smaller and more intense and more stressful and more oppressive, instead of what should be happening, which is the world getting bigger and bigger and more inclusive and less stressful and less oppressive. It is up to each one of us to reclaim the power of our line energy. We've got to learn to draw a line again in what we accept from ourselves, what we accept from each other, what we accept from the people that we go by in the street all the time. And every time you let somebody tell a story or describe the world as being a particular way and you don't agree with it, whenever you don't act on that, your line is collared. Your line energy is subjugated. You're giving that person's description of the world authority. You're letting it be the story of the world, which means you're agreeing with it. It means you're complicit in this entropy rather than this community inclusiveness that is our potential, if you can have the courage to reclaim your line drawing energy that you've been cultivating in recent years.